Yesterday I spoke about the bitterness that is in my belly over how it is gut-wrenching to be able to see how man has turned their ears from listening to their Creator. The witness against mankind is one that they have loved the darkness rather than the light. Yeshua told us in John chapter 3, verse 18, he that believes into him, speaking of himself, is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed into the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. These verses are perverted by Christianity. He is speaking of believing into him and believing into his name. They are synonymous. His name is the Logos of Elohim. It is the name that he was given. He makes it very clear by spelling out that those who do not believe into his name or into his Logos do not believe. If you say that you believe and you believe in a different Logos of who he is, you obviously have a false belief. The Logos of Elohim is his very nature or his character. It is his very thought process. It is his righteousness. It defines his righteousness. And I will show you that it is also the light. His word defines his Logos and it teaches it to us. Yeshua was in total agreement with his Father. They were one, as we are told that we are to be in agreement with them and become at one with them. He told us to follow him and he became this Logos. There is no other way. He is the path, and the path is the Logos. If you believe in a different version of the Messiah that is made up by the false Logos or the false nature of him that Saul of Tarsus and other liars have taught him to be, you believe in a different Logos, and you believe in a make-believe Messiah. And you are not following the true Messiah because you are on a different path, following a different Logos. You're following a different light, and that light is full of darkness, but you have loved this darkness rather than the true light. A make-believe Messiah has make-believe blood, and make-believe blood is not going to cleanse you from anything. He is the light that came into the world, and he was manifested as his Father's Logos to perfection, and he taught us to live by every word that came from his Father. This is for a reason, because, like I said, his word teaches us his Logos. It teaches his very character. It teaches us to be in agreement with him. He goes on to add the condemnation, verse 19, and this is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, and men love the darkness rather than the light, because their deeds were evil. Because everyone that lives evil hates the light, neither comes to the light, lest his deeds should be admonished. They don't want to be admonished. They don't want to be told right from wrong. They want to decide right from wrong for themselves. Live as they please. And tell him how it is. Verse 21, but he that lives the truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be manifested. We may manifest that they are wrought in Elohim. He clearly taught elsewhere that lawlessness is evil, and those living apart from his Father's law will not be allowed in the kingdom of heaven. He also clearly taught that his Father's Logos is the truth that sets us free. Here he is saying that those who do, or those who live his Father's Logos, are those who are walking in the light. It's very simple and straightforward. Most people in Christianity have no problem listening to someone tell them that they need to keep the commandments, because the concept of keeping them is so watered down that it does not really matter anyway. Even people who cannot even list the 10 Commandments think that they are basically obeying them anyway. I mention this because you can go to the false teachers' sites that are out there and to their teachings, and they speak that you have to keep the commandments as well. Well, you need to dig into, are they keeping them, and what are they actually teaching? Or are they just teaching a watered down version of them, or something to keep people in their comfort zone, maybe adding a bit of change into their lives that can still not rock their boats too much. Many do not mind others telling them that they have to keep the Sabbath, for instance, and maybe even the holy days and such. They build themselves a hedge of false protection by being more self-righteous than others who do not even keep these basic commandments, so they feel pretty good about themselves. So these false teachers have an audience because they are giving their listeners another level of righteousness to obtain to on a physical plane. I should say self-righteousness to obtain to on a physical plane, and their itching ears love to hear this new level of awareness. And these teachers do not go beyond the level of the comfort zone for those who are merely looking for more self-righteousness. Many are picking and choosing which instructions to keep, and they are perverting so many of his instructions just to remain in their comfort zone because they really do not want the light. They do not want to change. They're happy with an appearance of the light. The problem is the appearance of the light comes from Satan, who was the angel of light, Lucifer, before he became Satan. And he has all sorts of false images of what is true out there in the world for people who don't really want to come into the light to buy into. They do not mind listening to people who speak that we must obey Elohim, but do not define what that means. Walking in the light means selling out for it, selling out for the Logos of Elohim. A good example of people's desire to listen to false teachers is they listen to those who teach a false timing of the Sabbath day, and they feel good about what they believe in without having to make drastic changes in their lives. I'm referring to those who uphold a Sabbath that is on a fixed day in the pagan calendar, such as Saturday or Sunday, because they choose not to believe my Father's word. They choose to believe in Satan's light instead. Our Creator has a method that He gave us to keep track of when His appointed times are. His word says what it is. He gave us a monthly clock that is based on the lunar cycles to determine when His appointed times are, just like His word says. Many of these false teachers know of this clock, and they use it, or they use a version of it to determine when His other appointed times are. So why not His weekly Sabbaths? You need to ask why this is. It is because they love the darkness rather than the light, and they do not want their lives to truly revolve around Him. And so they rely on their own understanding, and they choose to hold on to the lies and remain in the darkness. People love to hear these false teachers and false prophets speak because their message is still in their comfort zone. They do not want to hear the truth because the truth means that they would have to change their entire life around to revolve around their Creator. Their entire life would need to be focused and centered on walking with Him in His Torah. And this is just too much for them, so they choose to remain in the darkness and listen to those who do not take them out of their comfort zone. Or it might be some other truth that they just think is too much of a change for them, so they remain in their lies. They do not want to be admonished by His instructions, so they simply reject His instructions and pick and choose which ones they want to obey. In John chapter 8, verse 12, then Yeshua spoke again to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Following Him is following Him in spirit and in truth. It's walking in the light with Him. And they said His Logos is that light. He was the Logos of Elohim made to be flesh. As I said, it is the name that He was given. You cannot pervert His name and say that you are following Him and walking in the light. You cannot pervert His Father's Logos and claim that you are following Him. You lie to yourself if you do, and the truth is not in you. His Father's Logos is the light. It is the truth that sets us free. In John 12, verse 46, I have come as a light into the world, that whosoever believes into me does not abide in darkness. King James and other translations always want to change the word into Him to believe on Him. Well, even the demons believe on Him. No, it is saying that those who believe into His Logos or into His very character do not abide in the darkness. In Matthew 6, verse 20, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust corrupt, and where thieves cannot break through nor steal, because where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is single, your whole body shall be full of light. But if your eye is evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Well, he's sitting there saying that if the light is not the true light, it is darkness. Whatever your light is, whatever your false belief is, if it isn't in agreement with Him, it is darkness. He is telling us that our eye needs to be focused on one thing. We must be single in our focus, and the focus must be on His Father's kingdom. This is where our treasure must be. He tells us elsewhere that only those who do His Father's desire will be in His kingdom. It is His desire that we live by His every word, because it transforms us into His image, which is why He created us. In verse 23, Yeshua tells us that if our eye is not single or not focused upon the purpose that we were created, then our eye is evil. Precept upon precept, those who do not live his Father's Torah are living evil. If lawlessness is your light, he says, great is your darkness. I am sure that very few of you have ever considered that breaking his laws is evil. This is because you have rejected the reason that you were created and given life. If you can reject that you were created to be molded by him and to be fashioned in his image, you can simply dismiss the instructions that he gave us to make us in his image with. Your rejecting this is wicked, and it is evil, and you are a perverse people. He is allowed for this as he called out those who have become his summer harvest. This summer harvest is his temple. It is built, and it will be caught up to meet his son when he returns next year to harvest the first fruits. But he has not finished building his family. He is crying out for people to come to him and to agree to turn from that which is false and turn to him to be fashioned in his image, just as his first fruits chose to do. Sadly, most of you will not hearken to the words that my Father has given me to speak to you this day without a great humbling. So the time of great affliction is about upon us, and he will humble people to come through this, but it's sad it's going to take this time of tribulation to just get people to listen to him anyway. Why not just listen to him because he wants to make you in his image? Why isn't that reason enough? Why not listen to him because you want to be in his family and you want to be in his kingdom? I am standing before my Father and his Son, the Logos of Elohim, as a witness against you. I am standing in agreement with them and in agreement with his word as a witness against you. The witness is that you have loved the darkness rather than the light. Repent while you still can and turn from the darkness that you have lived in and turn to the light. Turn from the false light that came from the angel of light, Lucifer. Turn to the truth that will set you free. Stop telling your Creator how it is and how you will worship him and what you will do and what you will not do. Stop deciding what is right and wrong for yourselves and let him teach you his holy and righteous character. Turn from your rebellion and let him begin to mold you in his image so that he can give you eternal life in his family. He is not going to allow that which tells him how it is into his family.